Apple, Nike, and the Made in USA paradox between globalization and protectionism. In recent years, the rhetoric of Made in America has returned to prominence, especially with the political rise of Donald Trump and his push to bring manufacturing back to the United States. Yet giants like Apple and Nike continue to produce almost entirely in China and other Asian countries, taking advantage of global supply chains that ensure low costs and high margins. The paradox of American multinationals, Apple is the most striking example. Despite being an icon of American capitalism, less than 5% of its products are assembled in the USA. Its dependence on China is such that, according to a report by The Information, 2023, even a premium model like the iPhone 15 Pro Max has only 2 to 3% of components manufactured in the United States. Nike, similarly, produces over 90% of its shoes in Vietnam, China, and Indonesia. Why, despite political proclamations, do these companies resist reshoring? The answer is in the numbers. Production costs. In China, labor costs are about a fifth of those in the United States. Integrated ecosystem. Shenzhen and Guangdong offer an unmatched supply chain, with suppliers just a few miles away. Flexibility. Foxconn, Apple's main partner, can hire and fire thousands of workers in a matter of hours. Trump, Biden, and the pressure on reshoring. Trump, with 25% duties on some Chinese products and subsidies for those who bring production back home, such as the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, has obtained only small shifts. Some companies, such as Intel or TSMC, have announced factories in Arizona, but these are exceptions. Biden has continued with the CHIPS Act 2022 for semiconductors, but large-scale reshoring remains a utopia. The contradictions of the Model 1. Do consumers want Made in USA? An iPhone produced in America would cost 20 to 30% more. 2. Chinese competition is growing. Huawei and Xiaomi have even more integrated supply chains in Asia. Apple would lose market share. 3. Offshoring is a two-way street. Tesla produces in China for the Chinese market. Nike has factories in Vietnam. Economic nationalism clashes with the reality of shareholders who demand profits. What will happen? 1. Partial reshoring. Only high-margin products will return to the U.S. thanks to subsidies. Apple could move 10% of production to India or Mexico, but not to its home country. 2. Technological Cold War. If Beijing invades Taiwan, the U.S. could impose an embargo on China, forcing Apple to revolutionize its supply chain. But it will take 5 to 10 years. 3. The decline of Made in USA. If China surpasses the U.S. in AI and automation, America's technological advantage will also disappear. Trump's dream of a manufacturing America is incompatible with global capitalism. Apple and Nike are stateless companies, answerable to shareholders, not presidents. As long as consumers prefer low prices to star-spangled banners, Made in China will remain dominant. The only way to real reshoring, advanced robotics and total automation, to eliminate the wage gap. But even there, China is ahead. Sources: The Information 2023, Boston Consulting Group, U.S. Census Bureau, Bloomberg. Apple and Nike. What would happen if they returned to manufacturing in America? The debate over reshoring, returning production home, is increasingly heated, especially in an era of U.S.-China tensions and political pressure for a more self-sufficient economy. But what would it mean for giants like Apple and Nike to move production to the United States? We analyze costs, impact on prices, consumer perception, and consequences for marketing. 1. How might manufacturing return to America happen? For Apple and Nike, bringing manufacturing back to the U.S. would not be a simple move, but a radical restructuring of the supply chain. Here are Apple's main challenges. An iPhone made in the USA. Factories and suppliers. Today, the iPhone is assembled by Foxconn China with components from Taiwan, South Korea, and Japan. To produce in the USA, Apple would have to build megafactories, Tesla Gigafactory style, in low-cost states like Texas or Arizona. Convince suppliers TSMC, Samsung, SK Hynix to move to America, already partly happening with the CHIPS Act. Automation. Reduce dependence on human labor with advanced robots. But China is already a leader in this. Nike shoes made in America. Raw materials and labor. Today, Nike produces in Vietnam, China, and Indonesia because labor costs are 10 times lower than in the US. Polyester, rubber, and fabrics are already there. Possible solution: use more automation. Adidas has experimented with robotic factories in Germany. Only produce premium lines in the US, e.g. Air Jordan, keeping the cheap sneakers in Asia. Advantages and disadvantages of reshoring. Advantages: reduction of geopolitical risks, e.g. US-China tensions, Taiwan blockade. Better image, made in USA appeals to patriotic consumers. Less delays in shipments, no Chinese lockdowns, supply chain problems. Government subsidies. Biden and Trump have encouraged the return of production. Disadvantages: to 40% increase in costs, higher salaries, expensive energy, less economies of scale. Less flexibility. In China, Foxconn hires 10,000 workers overnight. In the US, no. Lack of skills. America has lost manufacturing know-how. Of losing competitiveness, Huawei and Xiaomi would continue to produce at low cost. How much would prices increase? Today an iPhone could go up plus 25 to 30%. Nike Air Force One, made in USA, could cost the same, so plus 25 to 30%. Would people accept it? Surveys say that 60% of Americans would prefer made in USA, but only if the price goes up a little, plus 10%. In reality, 75% choose the cheapest product. See the success of Shein and Temu. Exception: luxury products, e.g. MacBook Pro or Air Jordan, could justify a premium price. Impact on marketing and sales: positive, affects more patriotic brand. Made in USA attracts conservative consumers and Trump/Biden supporters. Sustainability narratives: fewer emissions for transportation if the supply chain is local. Defense from reputational risk, criticism of child labor in Asia. Negative effects: loss of price-sensitive customers. Many would switch to Samsung, Huawei, or Adidas. Of greenwashing: if only a small part of the production is in the USA, the marketing could seem false. Even more aggressive Chinese competition. Xiaomi and Li-Ning would offer similar products at half the price. Conclusion: reshoring possible, but partial. Neither Apple nor Nike will abandon China entirely, but they could move 10 to 20% of production to the US for premium products. iPhone Pro limited edition sneakers. Automation to offset costs. Exploit government subsidies for chips and strategic products. The real problem: Americans say they want made in USA, but then they buy the cheapest product on Amazon. As long as the market rewards low prices, reshoring will remain a political dream rather than an economic reality. What do you think? Would you pay 30% more for an iPhone made in America?